am a former dentist, a published science author, an intuitive abstract artist, and a Reiki healer. Today, we're going to talk about Soulmate Reiki, and I'm going to share experiences of my own, but also why it is important to use Soulmate Reiki or Reiki to manifest your soulmate. Now, if you're here, you must be somebody who is in love or looking for love, and it is such a beautiful feeling to be in love. But often, when we are looking for love, we're almost holding on sometimes to times when we didn't feel loved or we felt as though we didn't need romantic love in our life. We could be people who enjoy our own company, especially if you're sensitive or a highly sensitive person. You could be somebody who enjoys their own company and you could feel whole in yourself, which is beautiful in itself, because a lot of the world strives to be by themselves and learn, in a way, how to handle oneself when they're just them, without inclusion of a partner. And for some people, it could be very challenging to be by themselves, to experience life uh, with full throttle emotions and the ups and downs and just situations that life throws at us, right? And when you're single, it's different. You tend to just think about yourself and you tend to, not out of selfishness, but uh, you sort of have a world of your own, and it's intimate and it's personal, and it can um, be very small but also quite sufficient from time to time. That's if you're not looking for a partner. And then comes the time when we are looking for a partner and we feel as though we're not that enough, or we feel as though we need something in our life or someone in our life, as though our life feels incomplete. Or we would rather have a partner so that we live a different life. Um, and it could be such a crossroads to explore a partnership. For the people who have just joined the live stream, today we're talking about soulmate Reiki and how you can manifest your soulmate using Reiki. So stay tuned if you're somebody who's looking for love or is finding their soulmate, their romantic partner, and is, yes, we all like partnership, and is spiritual as well. Um, and I was just sharing that when we are somebody who's looking for love, we're so excited. And oftentimes we can forget that we might be looking for love from a place of unhealed relationships, and an unhealed heart. And when our heart, especially our heart chakra, is filled with unhealed wounds from the past, from our past relationships, especially if we've had really challenging childhoods, or even professional relationships, sometimes we can carry all of that in our heart chakra, and emotions of guilt, shame, emotions of anger, resentment can just lodge in our heart chakra and prevent us from finding the right partner, from finding the person who is meant for us. And what does it mean to find a person who's meant for us? The one that we think about, or we set out on a journey for ourselves to look for the one. But does the one exist, right? And I believe that they do, especially if you're spiritual. I believe that our higher self, or the part of us that chooses our life for us, decides obstacles, situations, the people that are supposed to be in our life, already knows who's our partner and who are they and where are they and what are they doing, sort of a thing, and when will we meet them as well. Now, oftentimes when we are dating, especially in the modern era, when we are dating, it's difficult to go on dates and actually believe that we are meeting the one, because that's just how do you believe that? It couldn't be the one, right? You could just be ending up on a date with somebody who's actually a past life connection, and you've just met them because it feels familiar. It feels as though I know this person, I like this person, and I think there's a connection here. But we can't always be sure that if this person that you're on a date with is the person chosen by a higher self. Exactly, we like evidence. And how do we get that evidence? How do we, as human beings with so much fear in our heart, especially if we have had failed relationships, and here I'm not talking about relationships just in the sense of romantic relationships, but also when we have heartbreaks in a professional sphere, or in our family, with our siblings, with our parents, all of that affects our heart chakra. And all of that can be carried, and it can come forward when we're looking for a romantic partner, because our heart chakra is the center for love. It's where we learn and we receive and give love. And although we are classifying a romantic soulmate as a separate unit of a relationship than other relationships, but it is also an exchange of giving and receiving love. And when we don't heal or deal with our past pains, all of this can show up literally during our dates. You know, those dates that end badly, you see sort of on the television, there are these shows where they show how dates work. You're seeing people quarreling, or like people cheating on each other, matches not working out. uh, why is that happening? It's, yes, part of it is that it's filmed and there's a lot of scripting that goes behind it, but also part of it is because we go into these relationships and these dates with unhealed hearts. And when that happens, conflicts are bound to happen. So, what is the solution for this? Do we just keep healing ourselves until we find the one? That is exhausting. I think so. Because if we keep healing ourselves all the time, there can come a point where we feel as though, aren't we enough already? Why do we have to put in so much extra effort to find this person, the soulmate, this romantic soulmate of us? Why isn't me today enough for the soulmate chosen by my higher self to come through? And questions like these can create more fear, more doubt, more shame, guilt, anger, resentment, and block our path to manifest our higher self chosen romantic soulmate. And also, soulmate in itself is such a big umbrella. When we talk about soulmates, there could be romantic soulmates, there could be soulmates who are our business soulmates, or soulmates who are our familial soulmates. They might not be from your birth family, but you might have a different family, a soul group who resonates with you more than your birth family does. I know I do. And they can be your soulmate as well. Or you could have twin flames who might not be the healthiest of relationships for you. But again, it's a vast topic. Let me just say that. So it's very important to be cautious as well, especially if we end up in a relationship with somebody who's not our higher self designed soulmate. We could have so many problems. The reason why divorce rates are high all around the world is not just because lack of compatibility, but at a spiritual level, people are not aligned. Their paths are not aligned. They're not complementing each other, or they're not really, that relationship is not really supported metaphysically. And here I mean that when we are in a relationship with somebody, yes, we do our inner work, we behave well, and we bring our best to the relationship, we put our best foot forward. But even metaphysics plays a part in the success of a relationship. If the external influence is not positive, the relationship can go for a toss. And you might not do much for bad things to happen. Bad things would just happen solely because it's not supported, mostly by your higher self. And which is why divorces happen. And it's sad because people get hurt, and then you have to sort of almost give yourself so much time to heal. And again, it affects your heart chakra, and it affects how you also feel about yourself, not just how you feel about others. It affects your self-esteem, it affects your health as well. So it's very important to make sure that we are in a relationship, a romantic relationship, with a person that is chosen by a higher self. And a prayer is a good way to start. I think even before Reiki or healing, which we will touch upon a few minutes later, but when we just start praying to our higher self, hey, could you just let me know as to who is my romantic soulmate? Or could you just let me know as to what can I do to listen to your guidance today? Right? Or could you just let me know as to how will I connect to you chosen romantic soulmate for me? Because dating apps, let's face it, really complicated, very challenging to navigate our life through dating apps. So many chances for heartbreaks and conflicts, and just uh, not meeting the right person, and definitely a lot of possibilities for us to not meet our higher self chosen romantic soulmate, right? So starting out our search with prayer is not a bad start. And if you're somebody who does not believe in prayers, you can just affirm, I affirm that I attract my higher self chosen romantic soulmate. Another way to put it out in the universe that we're not looking for a soulmate. We're looking for a soulmate chosen by our higher self. We're being very specific and very territorial about it, as we should be. Otherwise, we can get our hearts broken, and we don't want that, right? And when we do that, right, when we put in that affirmation, does it work? Other affirmations do as well. I think it does. So that's a good place to start. Now let's talk a little bit about who are soulmates, right? We've spoken about what could happen if we go down the wrong lane and pick a wrong soulmate, and why it's important to heal our hearts before we start dating, or before we start looking for our soulmate, a romantic soulmate. But who are romantic soulmates, right? Are they people from our past lives? Are they people that we are meant to live with? Who are they? Well, there are a lot of definitions of romantic soulmates in different scriptures, and many people have mentioned soulmates as the perfect couple, perfect union, blessed union by God or the divine, etc. My understanding through Reiki, through energy healing, is that soulmates are romantic soulmates chosen by a higher self, and I'm being very specific here, are people who help us fulfill our life purpose. And these people could be there with us for a few decades, our entire lives, depending on how our lives pan out. And these people would be complementing each other. They're not people who would be conflicting each other's paths, qualities, challenges even. They'd be people who would be very comforting of a presence for each other. And soulmates are often, romantic soulmates chosen by a higher self are often very different from twin flames or people who we meet and have an instant connection with. But it's that connection can burn out very quickly. You meet people and you have this instant connection with them and you feel quite passionate about them, but that doesn't last. You find that it'll burn out. And I'm sorry. Excuse me. And that often is a sign that they're not your higher self chosen romantic soulmate. They could rather be a twin flame or a kindred spirit or somebody who is just passing by in your life. And the mistake a lot of us make is committing to a relationship where the person involved is a relationship that burns out quickly. It's intense fuel, intense passion, intense liking, but it's too much as well at the same time. It's too intense to handle. But whereas our higher self chosen romantic soulmates can often be quite the opposite. They could be very soothing, very comforting, very compatible. And they might not necessarily ignite the passion a twin flame would, but they would be people who could understand us, who would support us. Most importantly, who would not burn out quickly. They would be the ones that would be able to last in that union. And those are the people that we need in a romantic partnership, right? They are the people who we need to fulfill our life purpose. Because if there are connections that burn out quickly, it's very hard for us to fulfill our life purpose, right? And which is why our higher selves are very smart, very intelligent, and they know that we would need somebody that lasts. Which is why it's very important to make sure when we are on the lookout for a romantic soulmate to ask our higher self for guidance, to ask our higher self, is this the right person? Is this the right way to manifest them as well? Oftentimes, when we are using the wrong manifestation technique, we can end up with a wrong person too. So that's also important. Now, people who are interested in spirituality, energy healing, and have a belief that not all relationships can manifest organically. Some need help of energy work or healing work. This further message for you. Reiki is a beautiful way to manifest your soulmate. It works with energy and it helps us release past cords or relationships and even the current ones that don't serve us anymore, that don't really, we don't need them. And Reiki could really help us manifest our romantic soulmate chosen by our higher self, because that energy works in that way. The energy can release past wounds, hurts, anger, resentment, sadness stored in our hearts, heal our hearts, and help us open up to our higher self chosen romantic soulmate. Now, why do I vouch for Reiki? I vouch for Reiki because it's a very soothing process. It's a process that can really uplift us as well. And finding your romantic soulmate can be a very challenging process. It can involve a lot of heartbreaks and suspicion and conflicts and challenges and failures and delays. We're often looking for answers and surety if that person we are spending time with, thinking that their soulmate, are actually a soulmate. But through Reiki, we can directly connect to our higher self chosen romantic soulmate. So, if you are interested in learning about your current heart chakra state, how to heal it, how to release past relationships that are still holding you stuck, and most importantly, to connect to your higher self chosen romantic soulmate, please do drop a comment in the section below sharing your interest in going through a Reiki procedure. Please know that Reiki is very safe. It's a very gentle process and it cannot do any harm. If anything, it will heal you and leave you feeling immensely loved. So, if you're somebody who's looking for their romantic soulmate, I encourage you to try Reiki. That's it for today. I hope that this live session has given you some insight into soulmates, romantic soulmates, how they are different from other types of soulmates, and also why it's important for us to heal our heart chakra before we can manifest our soulmate. Of course, if you're interested in Reiki, to try Reiki energy healing to bring in our soulmates after healing the stuck, blocked emotions and energy in our heart chakra. I wish you a great day ahead, and I hope that you find your romantic soulmate chosen by your higher self. Bye.